how important is this open date to kind of reset, recharge the proverbial batteries, think about maybe something other than football for 5 minutes just to kind of get away?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely very necessary. I think that there's a reason that they do it and that every team has a bye week, just, for a physical aspect of just getting to kind of reset. And, football is a very physical game. So even if you're not injured or have an injury, your body's still getting beat up. Starting through fall camp, even at the end of fall camp, your body's hurting just because you're going 20 days straight, and then you just kind of go right into the season. So, taking a lot of hits and stuff like that. So, my body feels really good right now. Thankfully, and super thankful to not have any injuries. But it's also just a time to kind of rest the arm and kind of get everything just kind of flushed out and reset. And then also get guys that are kind of maybe tweaked up a little bit and get them right. So, but also in a mental aspect, just like maybe take a day or two and not think about football for a day. In the position that we're in, we're truly 7 days a week, 24/7. I'm up here for 67 hours on our day off on Sunday. So, there's not a day that I haven't gone since we started fall camp that I haven't been either up here or thinking about football. So it'll definitely be nice to kind of take a day or two this weekend and kind of reset and get ready for the second half of the season.
So what's your plan for this week?
Yeah. We're practicing Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So, get better. First of all, we got ways to get better. So get better and take advantage of the days and not take a day off when we are here. Not look, too far forward to having a day or two off, but take advantage of the day. And then whenever we do get that day off, take advantage of it and kind of reset and kind of get away from football for a day if you can.
Is there a point of reflection for you at this point in the bye week with essentially half the season over and half of it ahead of you, or is it all just full steam ahead still?
For me, I'll probably go back and watch the first 6 games and watch myself and see, what did I get better at? What do I still need to improve? I'm going to try to meet with Coach Riley and just, kind of take a whole reset and look back at what we've done. But then at the same time, we're going to be getting ready for Miami. So, there's both aspects of reflection and looking forward.
Talk to us about the fact that this season would take some patience and some maturity just as you guys all blend together out there on the field. Have you felt that, and what do you think is the biggest growth you guys have made as an offense in these first 6 weeks?
I think just putting drives together. I think that just trusting and playing for each other more than anything. Other than the one mishap from last week, we've just gotten better with taking care of the football. The first 2 games, we just pretty much handed them the ball a couple times, and I think that we've just gotten really good at that and just protecting the ball and making better decisions, and just better ball handling. And then making plays when they need to be made, but not forcing it. I think that was one struggle I made in the first 2 games is, I was trying to force a few big plays when it wasn't there. And then I kind of just not calmed down, but just kind of went back to what needs to be done when playing the position of quarterbacks is just taking what they're giving you, and not trying to make a big play every single down and, just play quarterback.
Is that just a mental reset? Because you know that. You've been preached that forever in football, and especially as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Is that just a mental reset? Is that something that finally clicked on film that you saw where you were forcing it? How were you able to make that adjustment?
I just kind of was like, there's a few times watching film, I was like, what are you doing? So, just kind of resetting and realized I was doing a little bit too much sometimes, and just kind of getting back to playing ball, which I feel like we've done a really good job of in the last 4 games. So.
After the game, Will Shipley was talking about the exchange that was botched. He said it was on him in terms of how you approached Is there anything you guys can do better to get more in sync in those situations? Or is there any commonality between the two that you guys have overall?
Yeah, he can take the blame, but it was my fault. It was on me for sure. You got a little tricked up on the read. Pretty much I'm reading the defensive end. Defensive end crashed, so my read is to pull it. And then they had a scraper, which pretty much like defensive end crashes and linebacker is scraping around. So pretty much, my read was to pull it, and then I saw the scraper, so I tried to give it late. But I just got to be decisive, and they ended up doing it about 3 or 4 more times throughout the rest of the game that they literally did the exact same thing. And we end up handing it and maybe getting a gain or 1 or 2, but it's better than me pulling it and taking a 4 or 5 yard loss from the linebacker. So it was definitely something we learned from, and something that we hadn't really gotten a true look at this year. So it was really good for us, for me and Will, especially for me. So.
Did they do that on your touchdown run when you pulled it?
They crashed at the end, but there was nobody honoring me. There was no scrape or anything. So.
What's the next level for this offense? Like, what's the number one thing that you would identify that you guys have to be better at, sort of big picture, second half of the season?
I would, I've honestly been really proud of us the last, 3 or 4 games. Obviously, there's a couple plays, wasn't our best game offensively this past week. But I would just say just continue to put drives together. Whenever we make the routine plays, it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. And just making the routine plays look routine. That's the most important part. And I didn't feel like I did a great job of this past week. I would say probably my most inaccurate game as a quarterback. I was, pretty hard on myself after, just because, I think that's one of my best attributes as a quarterback is my accuracy. So, it'll be good to kind of reset this week and just start letting it sling again. And, I felt great all week. It was just kind of a little bit off in the game, and but definitely a lot of that was on me. And but I think just continue to just trust each other and just be excited for every week. Yeah.
With Jake bringing school and St. Dennis, is there a different kind of thing that each of them brings, or what do you kind of get out of each of them?
I think they're both really special players. I think that they're both great route runners. They both got really good hands. At times, they can both play in the box and block anybody. I really think that. So, I don't think that whenever we switch them out, I see much of a change. We might use Jake a little bit more in certain things and Sage a little bit more in certain things, but they're both great players, and I've got full trust. We have a really good tight end room. We have a really good tight end room. Really, really good. So, you've got them two, and then you've got Josh, who's just continuing to get better. And then, you've got Olsen and Marcus that are both, young guys. But, Olsen has made huge strides and just keeps getting better. He's going to be a great player here. Just really, really good. So, really excited about that room.
Going into the Syracuse game, Coach Babe was just talking about how you really stand in there and wait till the last second to throw. You really, have that toughness. But at the same time, Coach Lee's talking about wanting to see you run more, kind of use your legs. Like, how do you balance those two strengths to kind of get the most out of them? And, is it just an internal clock, or is it a reading situation? Like, how do you balance that?
I think both. That's a good question. It really is both. Knowing the situation, right? Third down, it's 3rd and 4. It's sometimes an opportunity where guys will go man, and as a quarterback, you kind of alerting that okay, well, if they're man, then who's on me? Because there's nobody covering me. They're not QB spying or anything. So just an opportunity. Well, all right, nothing's really looking good. Let's try to go get this first down. But then at the same time, it's reactionary. It's not making up your mind, which I think a younger version of me had done before earlier in the season last year's, escaping before a little bit prematurely at times. and kind of making up my mind before getting through my whole read and everything. So I think that that's one thing that, I just got to think to myself, it's just reactionary, right? So, you go for the reads and you sit in there as long as you can until you kind of feel it's an internal clock for sure. And I feel like that's one thing that I've gotten better at throughout the season.
Syracuse game where the first
Yeah.
half blitz,
Yeah.
extended touchdown. Like, is that just the game slowing down and kind of, being able to react, or like, what would you attribute that to?
For sure. I mean, just continuing to get live game reps is really good. And yeah, for sure, the game's slowing down, and but just kind of making. I mean, that wasn't a play that was forced. We were trying to hit a 2-yard out route, and we ended up getting a 20-yard touchdown off a scramble that looked all nice and pretty, but that's just kind of another one of the scenarios where we didn't draw it up literally anything like that. And it just kind of happened, and guys are making plays. Troy made a great play, and but yeah, I mean, I think that was just a reaction type of thing, and just kind of me getting go play ball, and just kind of plays were getting made. So
Let's fill out your progress report. What kind of midterm grade do you give Klubnik?
I don't know about an actual grade, but for me, I feel like I've seen myself get better every week in certain categories. For one, you just look for the first 2 games. After that, I got all the dumb crap out of the way, in my mind, and just got that out of the way. And then, I kind of let loose on FAU and just truly just started slinging it. Florida State, I feel like my best attribute was sitting in there, like he was just talking about, sitting in there and truly trusting the offensive line. Syracuse, I feel like I really got to use my legs for the first time. I feel like I got to use it a few times before, but really in a scramble mode. And then this past week, I feel like I actually got to use my legs and more truly running. I feel like there's a few times where, they were dropping 8 guys and they were kind of covering some guys up, and, I kind of got to use my speed a little bit and get around the edge and get some good yards. So I feel like I've kind of just added a little bit more every single week in my mind, and just trying to just put it all together in one game and use it when it's needed. So, that's kind of what I've seen so far, and but I've still got a long way to go, and but just kind of ready for this week and just kind of reset and look at what we've done, look at what we're going to do.
They call a play and you see the defense and go, okay, this isn't going to work. To make a check, do you still check in with the side? How does that all work?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the game plan. So we'll have certain plays, where we'll have certain checks if they line up in a certain thing. But if it's just a base play, most of the time we don't have a check off of it. But it's just checks that we've included throughout the week. So, like, if we're running a certain play and then they line up in a certain front or a certain defense, we know it might not be a good play. Or it might be a bad play to run against that team. So let's just check out of it and at least get into a good play. It might not be the best play possible we could ever run, but let's at least get into a good play where we might get a few yards, 4 or 5 yards, instead of running a bad play. So, Coach Riley does a great job of giving us, if they do this, then let's do this. But it's only for certain plays, and but it's the plays that are needed. So it just kind of depends on the game plan. Yeah.
It was a 3rd down, I think, in the red zone Saturday when Stellato was crossing, but you had pressure up the middle, and I think you flushed, and I couldn't figure out, should he have stayed in and thrown that, or was it just the pressure too quick, and what was your view of that play?
Yeah. They kind of gotten a little bit of they gotten a good look, and in my mind, it's kind of more of a clear out route. So he's trying to actually open up for the guy behind him. So, on film, it's like, oh my gosh, he's wide open, but I really wasn't looking at him dead on. But, obviously if I had it back, I would have just stuck it on him and he probably would have walked in. But that was one I probably would have wanted back from this past week. And yeah, would have liked to get in the end zone on that drive.
Questions for Kate from Zoom? Anybody else in the room?
Take one day and not do football at all, like what will you do on that?
I'm thinking about going to the mountains for a day and just going hiking. I like hiking and getting out in nature and stuff like that. So just kind of doing a little bit of a reset. And my birthday's tomorrow, so I'm gonna spend that with my parents. And we have tomorrow off as a program. We're doing a little bit of community service, but seeing my parents are in town, so I'll hang out with them. And then this weekend I'll just kind of go to the mountains and just hang out and get away for a little bit, and then come back Sunday and get back to work. So,
Like North Carolina?
yeah, I think we might go to like Asheville or Cash or something like that. So, yeah, I don't know.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
It's the bye week. I think I can talk about it. But your mom says that there's a hallway in your house at home where she had stuff broken, stuff scuffed up, but she feels like that's where you learn to throw the football, baseball, whatever. They call it the bowling alley or the bowling lane, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about that hallway and how it kind of led to your development.
Yeah, pretty much like, you walk in the front door and it's a big hallway right down the middle of the house, kind of. Kind of on the right side of the house, we got, living room, kitchen, family room, and then on the left side's kind of game room and rooms. And at the end, it's more bedrooms. And but yeah, pretty much a big hallway right down the middle. And I would do all kinds of games in the hallway. But I remember kind of like in middle school, just doing like a lot of footwork drills and stuff in there. And working on my 3-step drop and just like stuff like that. I would throw in there occasionally, but normally she didn't really like that, so we would still find a way to kind of do stuff. But yeah, I remember sitting in my backyard, asked my dad to kind of get me a like the bounce back nets that you'd like throw a baseball on or something like that, and I would duct tape like squares and stuff off of it. So I would like kind of get in the backyard and just by myself back there, just trying to hit the squares. It didn't bounce back straight to me, which didn't really work, but just trying to work on my accuracy all the time. And but yeah, definitely lots of fun memories in that house. And I learned how to do a 3-step drop in the backyard from my brother and just like stuff like that. So definitely a place that brings back a lot of memories for sure.
Were you the kid that school gets out at 3, you walk in, drop your backpack at the door, and you're immediately picking up a football, basketball, baseball?
Yeah, I was always doing something for sure. I've never really been like a huge video game guy, but I'm definitely very active. I feel like I never really run out of energy, ever. So definitely somebody who's kind of always going and just, ready from where everybody's kind of tired out at the end of the day of playing a bunch of games, and I'm always kind of, let's play one more, stuff like that. So, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Cool, appreciate it.